So now that I'm older with a family, one thing I like to do is look back when I was a kid. You know, I started asking myself questions within the last 10 years of my life. How did my parents do it? How did everybody's parents in the neighborhood do it? How did we go on vacation? How did we get new cars in the driveway every 4 years? How did we go out to dinner? You know, getting stuff done to the house. How did we do what we did? My dad was a mailman, and my mom, she didn't work a lot of the time. Yeah, she wasn't exactly the healthiest person, but she did have jobs here and there, you know, working as, you know, in a gas station and stuff like that. All the houses in our neighborhood were only between $40,000 and $60,000. By no means did we grow up in a wealthy neighborhood, but everybody in the neighborhood seemed like they were fine. They all had newer cars, nice cars. So, and how did they do it? And that goes for everybody I knew, family, everything. Everybody on the outside seemed nice and fine. And then whenever I got older and started my own family, I really started asking myself those questions because I'm going deeper into debt every year. And if I'm going deeper into debt every year, then how come they didn't do that, you know, back then? Well, that's at least what I thought. And then I was like, okay, no, they were in debt. They masked everything with debt. Because the one thing that I came to realize about 10 years ago is that we have a major spending problem. You know, I hear a lot of the time, how many times have you heard, it's the system that is failing us, especially in the middle class. It's the system. So you just accept that. You accept that the system is stacked against us, and it's not me, that it's someone else. Because it's so much easier to put the blame on somebody else, not ourselves. So I started really reevaluating the way I do things about 10 years ago. And I was like, all right, I need to do something totally different. I need to figure out why I am making decent money and why I am going in debt every year. All right, I was making maybe in the 40s, you know, 40-some thousand dollars a year. My wife was making probably 20-some thousand dollars a year. So we weren't killing it, but we were definitely making decent money for us. So why are we going in debt? And that's when I decided I'm going to pick up a couple books. I need to find out. I got real curious about this. There's got to be a way for us to make it without making a boatload of money. And I picked up 2 books. I picked up The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, and I picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad by Richard Kiyosaki. Both excellent books, but they both attack things very differently. And I like that because it gave me a perspective on how other people think about regular people. You know, people that are in the middle class and that are in debt. And although both of their approaches were totally different, they both had the same things to say pretty much. And that is that we suck at our money. We love to spend our money. We treat money like a drug. It feels great spending it, and then you feel like shit afterwards. When you can't pay your mortgage or you can't pay a bill during that month because you went out to dinner a couple times that month or whatever, you know, whatever you did that month to put yourself behind, you did it. And so I'm like, okay, so if we stop spending our money, that's probably all we need to do. And then we could start paying off our debts as if we start spending like we live another lifestyle. And that's it, guys. That is all I did 10 years ago. I changed my mindset. I went from, yeah, we could do this, we could do that, we could get another car. And I went from that to no, we can't do that. We can't afford that. You know, when you get that mentality in your head that we can't afford it, then and only then are you going to start being able to get yourself out of the hole that you put yourself in. So when you could do that, you're going to start paying off your debts. And I promise you, it is not easy. It took us 4 years of grinding And we paid over $100,000 in debt in 4 years, but at the same aspect, you don't have to hit that type of plateau. We went nuts. Like I was so focused, and some of the things, the decisions that I made hurt some people in my family, and it had other people looking at me differently. But I didn't care, because I'm looking at this as a me problem, and we should all be looking at this as a me problem. It's not a they problem. So I remember about 15 years ago, I was watching a millionaire being interviewed on TV, and I remember getting angry at this person because he said I forget what the question was, but he said the one thing that he hates the most is when a broke person says, "If I only had $1 million." And he said that broke person would be broke again in 5 years after having that $1 million. And I thought, what an ignorant thing to say. You know, a lot of us would really benefit from $1 million. We would pay off our debts and do ABC. Now that I think about what that guy said back 15 years ago when I watched that interview, I wish I remember who the person was, but I don't. But now that I think back, now that I have a different mindset about money, he's 1,000% right. 1,000% right, because every time, and we've all had that fantasy, guys. We've all had that fantasy. And how many times have you had that fantasy of having $1,000 or $1 million, and you always start with, I would pay off all my debts, then I would get the car that I always wanted, I would move up into a bigger house. We go right back into spending. Where somebody with wealth gets $1 million, and they immediately think, what am I going to invest this money in? I need to grow this $1 million into $2 million. Now, you might sit there and say, well, of course they would. They're rich. Yeah, but they all started with zero. Very little people in this world got inherited money. Most of the millionaires out there started at zero. And not all of them got there from being a doctor and a lawyer and all these fancy jobs. A lot of it was that they got taught at a young age that you have to be smart with your money. Now, that's the one downfall I could say, is that our parents didn't know that. They didn't teach us, and that's why we're bad with our money. We were not taught the proper way of using money. We weren't taught of how powerful money can be if you use it the right way. And now that I have learned that in the last 10 years of my life, I try to tell other people about it. I know it's not easy. It's like, because like I said, it's like any other addiction. You're not going to break somebody off that habit that easy. Spending money is a crazy addiction. It's probably one of the biggest addictions in the world that we have. And it's something that we do not recognize as an addiction and come to our senses that this is an addiction. But without a doubt, the biggest addiction in the world is spending money. And that is why the world is in debt. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't have a lot of money, but I have a lot of money. If that doesn't make sense to you, I don't make a lot of money per year, compared to all these other people out there. But from 10 years ago to today, I have a lot of money. Because 10 years ago, whenever we got a paycheck, we decided on what bill we were going to skip. What bill are we going to skip this month? All right, last month was the electric bill. This month is going to be the car payment. We're going to skip the car payment this month. All right, we'll take whatever penalty we can on it, because the penalty is going to be a lot smaller than the car payment, and we need to keep moving it forward. Now, I realize that all of our extra money goes to investments. So now we're looking at, where do I need to put this money? What investment do I need to put this money to? So what are some of the things that you need to come to your senses on? One is our cars. Our cars are one of the biggest things that keep us in debt. Without a doubt. You guys lease these cars, which I did. I did the same thing, guys. We lease these cars every 3 years, and we have non-stop payments. We practically lease our phones every 2 years. We have non-stop payments because we always have to treat ourselves to something new when we possibly can. So every 3 years when you get your lease up, we got to treat ourselves to something new. Every 2 years when your phone's up, you got to treat yourself to something new. All right, kids sports. As of lately, kids sports has been a big business item. It's big business. It's expensive. It is very expensive. We put our kids in sports that cost us anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a year per kid. That is insane. It's absolutely insane. There are cheaper sports out there to put them in. All right, there are cheaper leagues, I should say, of the same sport to put them in. It's just insane, guys. Everything is about money, and we are not afraid to spend that money. And then we think of the consequences later. So 10 years ago, changed my mindset, started getting myself on the right track, immediately stopped going out to dinner, immediately stopped going on vacation, got rid of our expensive cars. We bought used cars, paid them off, didn't have the car payments, everything, guys. We stopped everything, stopped using our credit cards to go grocery shopping, stopped getting excited when our credit card limit would get increased. Guys, how many of you do that? How many of you get excited whenever your credit card limit gets increased because you have more money? You feel like you have more money, but in actuality, you just got tacked on more debt because you know you're going to use it. So now I have a credit card and there's nothing on it. And they keep increasing that credit card amount on me, but I don't give a crap because I know I pay off that credit card every month now. So that's the different mindset, guys. And you don't have to make more money to get ahead, to pay off debts. All what you have to do is get your money back. You have the money to survive. It's just that you got to get it back. Because right now, it's going out the door every month. And that you need it to stay inside. And that the only way you're going to do that is by paying off your debts. So for 4 years, when we paid off our debts, yes, I worked overtime. Yes, if we needed a second job, we would have got it. But my wife worked 2 jobs and I worked overtime. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy. It is very hard, and you're always going to hit that brick wall. No matter what you're doing, you always hit a wall, and when it comes down, another one goes up. But you fight through it. You keep pushing forward through everything that comes up as a roadblock. And I promise you, the results are priceless. And the financial strain that is on everybody's shoulders right now, when that's released, I promise you, you feel so much better. You start treating yourself better, and in result, you start treating other people better. The outcome is fantastic. And I just don't know what else to say, but I wanted to get this off my chest. I wanted to say this in a video, and I hope everybody listened to what I had to say today, and I hope everybody has a great day.